In the last video, we talked about the numbers on the number line and the distances between those numbers. Let's take a look at that again. The distance between, say, 1 and 2 is 1 unit, or 1 space. The distance between 1 and 4 is 1, 2, 3 spaces. The number 3 is 3 units away from 0 on this number line. The reason I'm even mentioning that, as obvious as it seems, is that we have a special notation and a special vocabulary around the idea of distance from 0. The distance between 3 and 0 is 3, and we say that the absolute value of the number 3 has the numerical value 3. Notice that down here at -3, this number is also 1, 2, 3 units away from 0. So the absolute value of the number -3 also has the numerical value 3. What we're saying here is that the number 3 is 3 units away from 0. The number -3 is also 3 units away from 0. I can do that with any of the numbers on the number line. Let's see if we can find the absolute value of 2. Well, let's find the number 2 and then count how many spaces that number is from 0. It's 2 spaces, so its absolute value is 2. How about the absolute value of the number -4? The number -4, which is here, is 1, 2, 3, 4 units away from 0. So the absolute value of -4 is 4. What about something like 1.5? What's the absolute value of 1.5? Well, the number 1.5 would be here. Let's see, I'll write it here, 1.5. That number, which would be there on the number line, is half a unit plus a whole unit away from 0. So its absolute value is 1.5. The absolute value of -3 3/4 is I need to go 3/4 of a unit to get to 3, and then I need to go 1, 2, 3 more whole units. So 1, 2, 3 whole units plus this initial 3/4, 3 3/4. So I don't know if you've noticed this, but the numerical value outside, or the answer, if you will, has the same configuration. It's the same number as we had inside the absolute value. We call these absolute value bars. Inside the absolute value bars and outside the absolute value bars, the numbers are the same. In this case, what's different is the sign. Let's take a look at another one of those. What's the absolute value of -5? Well, -5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units away from 0. So its absolute value is 5. But what's the absolute value of +5? +5 is here. Its absolute value, its distance from 0, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the absolute value of +5 is also 5. Perhaps the biggest takeaway here is that the absolute value of a number is the distance from 0, and distances can't be negative. So whenever you see absolute value bars, in order to evaluate what's inside, one thing that must always happen is that the answer must be a positive number.